Let's go in. És egyben jó reggel, egy darab.
Good morning.
Morning, thank you.
Köszi. Hello. Jó reggel, sziasztok.
Akkor te is jöttél a zsebeidet.
Igen? Úristen, Jézus Mária, és nekem mindig Jézus Mária mondani.
Ah, jó olyan.
Ja, ezt mondom. Minden várjál.
Amit én is eltudom, eszköz.
Aha. Ja, mert háború van. Én is felejtettem, hogy itt a
Elég széles körben van már.
Igen, állítólag ez most egy ilyen népszerű dolog. Te nem tudom. Fülhallgató.
Ami fém is eltudom.
Jó. Jó.
És a camera. Yes, put it in your battery.
Ugyan nem elektrotechnikai, de...
Jó.
Just a battery in there.
And empty your pocket with everything. But watch is okay. The phone, wallet, coins, key. That's the navigation. That's all.
Well,
Close the door.
Jó. Köszönöm.
Hello. Yes, empty your pocket. Yes, the phone, wallet, coins, key. Just metal and electric. Put it in the bus. Jackie, thank you. No, you can go. Okay, check in the back. Thank you. What is okay?
cheers, thank you.
Perfect.
We made it, so we
Made it, yes.
Sziasztok! Right.
Cappuccino freddo, dentro da un pezzo di carta di mettere, allora seguita di per favore.
Do I need to?
Just there.
Oh,
Sziasztok! Igen, valahogy majd
thank you.
felragasztjuk egy rágóval. Köszi! Ja. Szia, jó reggel!
Megyek a végében, mert jön
Igen?
az igazgató.
Jó, akkor lehet, hogy én megyek oda középre. Jó, köszi. Yeah, that's it. Sometimes a band-aid can be the solution, but I have no anything like that.
Just have to walk very slowly.
Yes. Good news, you have to wear it only inside the synagogue, not outside.
Yeah.
But that won't be that easy. Well, be careful with the steps, please, like this one. And you can walk around to take pictures. I will be there at the thick column on the left.
Sorry, it's just,
Yes. Unfortunately, I have no any other.
that's all right.
No, it's okay. We will manage it somehow. We will discuss. So, feel free to walk around. We can do that. That I wear that one. I give you this
I
one.
know.
Or if you if you have a hood, let's put it on, and maybe it will keep it on your head. Okay, we will see. Yeah, right. Be careful with the steps. As many pictures as you like. In 5 minutes, something like that. See you there.
Yes.
If you would like to take pictures,
Yeah, I'll sort of walk around, can I?
you can. Just don't use flash, please. That's all. And be careful with the steps. And see you there.
In 5 minutes.
5 minutes approximately. You're the
Okay.
group, so
Can you walk all around?
up to you, but yes,
Yes.
you can. You can, just here on the ground floor.
Okay, thank you. See you in a bit.
Right. Yeah. Just have a seat, please. Over here. And yes, the best if you put the hood on, and maybe it will keep it on your hand, or even this way. Yeah. Yeah, I think
Easier, easier.
Yeah, easier, absolutely. Well, welcome back, first of all. So, have you been to so many synagogues beforehand, or
First one.
the first one? I always ask the people in my group in the first second about that, because first of all, I'm just curious about it, but also because this synagogue is not just huge, not just beautiful and unique, but it's more than special as well. So I think even if you haven't been to synagogues ever before, I think you have been to churches
Yes.
much
yeah,
more.
yes.
So maybe you already realize that this synagogue is more than special. I mean, it's more similar even to St. Stephen's Basilica or to any Catholic church
Yes.
than to a traditional synagogue. Well, now I just tell you about it that everything happened on purpose, but I will explain, of course, what this purpose was, when, how, and why. Well, but yes, so first of all, this Dohány Street Synagogue, which means Tobacco Street Synagogue.
Yes.
Dohány means tobacco in Hungarian. So as usually in Hungary, it is just the street's name.
So Dohány
It's just the
means
street's name, tobacco.
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 Smoking tobacco.
Exactly. There was
Oh,
a
right.
tobacco market and factory here. In
Oh,
this,
I see.
In that street, much before they built the synagogue up in the mid-19th century.
Yes.
So now in Hungary, all the synagogues are named after the street in which they are located. They have no name. A bit later, I will show you the only exception. It's in this garden. Heroes Temple. There's the small synagogue of the complex for the winter time. It has a name, but I will explain it then and there. Well, this Dohány Street Synagogue, it's the largest one in Europe, the second largest one in the whole world. They are so proud of it, of course, here. But especially because it's not about the size of the building, it's about the number of seats.
Yes.
Much more. So this synagogue has almost 3,000 seats, exactly 2,967 with the two balconies.
Yes.
I don't know how many seats they have in New York City, in Manhattan, Temple Emmanuel, but more than 10,000, so much more than this. But still, this is the largest synagogue in Europe. But as I told you, it's even the most untraditional one as well. The most similar to any Catholic church.
Yes.
Well, but honestly, not just this synagogue is special, but even this Jewish congregation is more than special. It's called Neolog, but it's not a surprise if you haven't heard about it ever before. Nobody did, not even Jewish people, out of Hungary, because it exists only here in Hungary this way, nowhere else. So it's different from any other Jewish communities.
Right.
It's not Orthodox, not Reform, and not even conservative. It's a mixture
Yes.
of them, like everything in Hungary, but that's what I will explain first, how I mean that everything is a mixture in this country. But please, if anything's not clear enough anytime, or if you're just simply interested in anything else, please interrupt me in the middle of the sentence. I'm totally used to it.
Thank you. I will.
Which
Yeah.
doesn't mean that I won't lose the track. I will, but don't ever care about it, please. I do it 100 times every day, so no problem at all. I'm used to it.
Yes.
Well, first of all, just a few words about how I mean that everything is a complete mixture in this country, like the language. So maybe you already noticed, even when you were walking in the streets, that the Hungarian language is a total mess. For me, it's a lovely mess, of course, because I speak the language. I'm in love with the Hungarian language. But for foreign people, it usually sounds so strange and so different from any other ones.
Yes.
And it not just sounds like that, but so for example, it's almost completely different, even from its two official relatives, the only ones, which are Finnish and Estonian.
Right.
They are because the ancient Hungarians lived together with Finnish and Estonian people for a long time in Eurasia. So, like many of the nations in Middle Eastern Europe, even the Hungarians came from Asia,
Yes.
from the Asian side of Ural Mountain, Russia. But nowadays, 70% of the words, of the expressions we use in the Hungarian language, they come from German, Turkish, and Slavic languages,
Right.
not Finnish and Estonian. Of course, all these foreign words are transformed, Hungarianized, so they don't understand us, we don't understand them. Usually we don't understand even ourselves, to be honest, but I shouldn't be too political. I love our Prime Minister, he's a criminal. But if I had to use only one expression about Hungary, it would be mixture. So not just the language, our culture, even our DNA is a total mess.
Yes.
For example, if you go anywhere else in the area, especially the Slavic countries, you can identify the typical local faces in a few days. You could never do that in Hungary because it simply doesn't exist at all, not even a typical hair color.
No.
This kind of mixture, what we are here, so it first of all comes from our history. Hungarian history in a nutshell is that everybody went through this country. It's a long and usually terrible story of invasions from time to time.
Yes.
So, you can't speak about Jewish history anywhere, anytime, especially this part of Europe, without mentioning pogroms every 5 minutes. But you can't speak about Hungarian history without mentioning invasions every 5 minutes. And of course, if you speak about Hungarian Jewish history like me, both. Usually
Right.
they are related to each other. This kind of history comes from our location because Hungary is located in the center of Europe, in the middle of the continent, which means that especially culturally, it doesn't belong to the east and not even to the west of Europe. So I do think that you already realize that it's quite different from the UK,
Yes.
but it's equally different from Russia, Ukraine, the Eastern European countries. Hungary is like a ferry boat that always goes between the two shores, the east and the west of Europe, but it's never on
So it's a
one
mishmash
side.
of everything.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. That determined all our history, especially 20th century history, to be honest. But yes. Absolutely. Well, the Hungarian society could never decide if we belong to the east or to the west of Europe more.
Right.
For example, to be honest, we work on
And
it.
they're still deliberating.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Well, on the other hand, the Jewish history began much before the Hungarian history here in the Carpathian Basin, about 700 years earlier,
Yes.
800 years earlier, because the Hungarians settled down here just in the late 9th century, officially 895, while the first Jews came here with the Romans. The ancient Romans settled down here and made the most eastern province of the Roman Empire in the 1st century after Christ. Some Jewish traders, even soldiers in the Roman legions, came here with the Romans. Some Jewish slaves were brought here from uprisings. So there were a lot of Jews here with the Romans,
Yes.
but from the 1st century, but they left this area completely with the Romans before the collapse of the Western Roman Empire in the 5th century, still at least 200 years before the Hungarians appeared here.
Right.
So that's all we know about them, that they were here and they left. We know a bit more about the first Jews in the Hungarian state. So the Hungarian state was established by Saint Stephen, you know, the church nearby and
Yes.
the 2nd Street. Have you been to Saint Stephen's Basilica?
No, I'm planning to.
If
tomorrow.
Just a suggestion, because I'm a guy living in the city for 15 years. If you go there, just a personal suggestion, don't stop at the ground floor. It's possible to go up to its dome.
I have. I've booked.
A bit sporty, but not that much.
Yes.
It's the cheapest and the greatest lookout in Budapest by far.
Yes.
You can walk around, beautiful.
Yeah.
Just a suggestion. Anyways, so Saint Stephen established the Hungarian state in 1000, early 11th century, and even not that much later, a lot of Jews came to Hungary from Western Europe, especially from German and Austrian territories, because of the pogroms
Yes.
against the Jews then. And anyways, they were Ashkenazi Jews. Later in the Turkish era, I will speak just a bit about the Turkish era in a minute. Even Sephardic Jews came to Hungary, but from the beginning of times, most of the Jews, like for hundreds of years, 99.5% or 100% of the Hungarian Jews are Ashkenazi Jews.
Right.
You know this Sephardic and Ashkenazi?
No, I
thing?
don't, no.
I explain it in 2 sentences. I'm both. To be honest, I'm a mixture even as a Jew.
Right.
Sephardic Jews, like my father's family, they came from Spain.
Okay.
They left Spain in the 15th century, 1492 mainly because of the Inquisition, but they traditionally live in South of Europe, South America, North Africa, for example.
Yes.
Ashkenazi Jews mean most of Europe from Russia to Denmark or to Finland. They represent 2 different everything, not different religions of course, but different cultures, even different languages in the everyday life. Ladino is the language of Sephardic Jews. It's a mixture of Spanish and Hebrew.
Yes.
And maybe I've heard about Yiddish language. For the Ashkenazi Jews are originally from German territories. It's a mixture of German
I
and
see.
Hebrew. And as I told you, in the medieval times, a lot of Ashkenazi Jews came to Hungary and settled down here. But the ancestors of most of us, especially nowadays, they came from Slavic territories. Also Ashkenazi Jews, but not from Germany, not from Austria, much more from Russia, Ukraine, and especially Poland.
I see.
Like
yes.
my mother's family.
Right.
My mother's family name is Polak, which means Polish in Hungarian, so not a question. Anyways, most of those Sephardic Jews were, and some Ashkenazis as well, of course, were killed in pogroms in the late 17th century, exactly in 1686, by the end of the next invasion, the Turkish era, because in the 16th, 17th century, for 145 years, Hungary was part of the Ottoman Turkish Empire,
Yes.
but not the Turks killed the Jews, to be honest. So much that partly or mainly because they were Muslims, they kind of trusted or accepted the Jews much more than the Christians. So, you know, nowadays most people think that this hatred between Muslims and Jews is an ancient story, and it has always been like that, and it comes from the differences in the 2 religions. It's a political issue. The most terrible
Right.
kind, but it's a political issue from the 20th century, and it's related to the state of Israel.
So it's a modern state of affairs.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. The truth is that the Muslims, because even the Arabic people did it in Spain before the Turks, the Muslims treated the Jews much better for a long time than the Christians.
Right.
So, for example, I always knew that my father's family left Spain in the 15th century as usual, and we always believed that they came to Hungary directly. And for my father makes our family tree nowadays, it turned out a few weeks ago that they spent about 200 years in Bosnia, in the Balkans,
Right.
because it was part of the Turkish Empire even in the 15th century, and the Turks accepted and protected the Spanish Jews.
Yes.
Well, on one hand, for the Turks, the Jewish lifestyle, culture, even the religion was much more understandable and acceptable than the Christian. And on the other hand, the Turks needed and appreciated the Jewish traders a lot.
Right.
So, But anyways, here in Hungary, the Turks liberated the Jews, and then they gave them much more rights than for the Christian Hungarians.
Yes.
So, in that 145 years, a minority, the Jews, had a much higher social status in Hungary than the majority of the society,
Right,
the
okay.
Christian Hungarians.
Yes.
So, of course, the Jews always fought on the Turkish side, and I think that's why in 1686 most of them were killed in pogroms, and their synagogues were burned and ruined down to the ground, together with the Muslim mosques.
Right.
And that's why all the functioning synagogues you can see in Budapest and in Hungary nowadays, they were built up after the Turkish era. So mainly in the 19th, 20th century, like this Dohány Street synagogue was built up between 1854 and 1859.
I see. Yes.
It's like
yeah.
a miracle for me that they could make it in 5 years without any kind of state donation, 100% from the money of this Jewish community.
Right.
Well, on the other hand, I think you can see the visible remains of this Sephardic Jewish culture even here, especially here, in the interior, in the decoration of the synagogue.
Yes.
This kind of Moorish Oriental style decoration, especially with so much golden decoration, so many paintings, colors. It's much more like a Sephardic synagogue.
Am I correct in saying it caters more for the moderate Jewish person,
Yeah, yeah.
as opposed to the extreme?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, I think the difference between a typical Sephardic and Ashkenazi synagogue
Yes.
is like the difference between a Roman Catholic and the Reformist Christian church. So I just mean that the Sephardic synagogues are much more ornate, much more decorated, full of gold,
Yes.
like the Baroque Catholic churches.
I
The
see.
typical Ashkenazi synagogues, like first of all in Poland, they are much simpler.
Yes.
No decoration. at all.
No.
Well, so in the early, especially mid-19th century, simply as a consequence of industrialization, there were two completely different Jewish societies in Hungary, not only here, the countryside Jews in the villages, like
Yes.
my mother's family, and the urban Jews, especially in Budapest, like my father's family, their lifestyle, their culture, their typical
So
professions.
they separated out.
Absolutely. I think everywhere, anyways. So not only here, the whole story started in Germany, not even in Hungary. But even here, yes. So they became very, very different from each other, and especially their intentions.
Yes.
The countryside Jews didn't want to change. They wanted to keep all their traditions. They wanted to stay Orthodox. The urban Jews, especially in the capital city, were not just more open for a change, but they were already much more integrated in the society, so they were much more able to change.
I see.
So it became an issue in the 1850s when, for the first time in our history, there was a real chance for the Jews to be accepted, to be integrated in the society,
Yes.
like never before. But they knew that they had to change a lot for that. They had to take some steps forward towards the Christian people to
Yes.
really achieve it. And for the countryside Jews refused it completely. These urban, these reformer Jews made a new Jewish community for that change and for that acceptance. This one, it's called neolog. It comes from two ancient Greek words, neo like new, and logos like language,
Right.
new language.
Yes.
But of course it meant a new way of thinking, a new way of being Jewish, because the only purpose with which they made this neolog community was to fit in the society like never before, by lowering especially the visible differences between themselves, the Jews, and the Christian Hungarians. They didn't want to be Christians at all, of course,
No.
but they wanted to look like them as much as possible.
I see.
So this is what they mainly changed in this neolog community.
Yes.
What you can see, what you can hear, what you can taste, the look of the whole thing. But so much that they broke the traditions even with the person of the architect who designed this synagogue.
Yes.
Because ever before, all these synagogues were designed by Hungarian Jewish architects, and there were a lot at every corner, especially in this area. But they assigned Ludwig Förster. He was a great architect, but it was a double crime against the traditions. He was German and he was Christian. But even the order of the community, which became public in 5 minutes, like everything in Hungary, although it's
Yes.
never part of the plan, especially nowadays. But even the order of the community to Ludwig Förster was to make this synagogue as much similar to a Catholic church as possible. So that's what they wanted, that's what they got. And
So it's all about belonging.
Integration.
Yes, integrating and
But anyways, I love the word you used, belonging. That's the meaning of it.
Yes.
That's the meaning of it. So it was not just a trick
No.
from or by the Jews. They believed in it 100%.
yes,
The Hungarian Jews, these reformer Jews, believed and felt that they were more Hungarian than Jewish.
Yes.
So they really wanted to. They put all their stakes on this. They wanted to be Hungarians 100%. Absolutely. They wanted to belong to this nation and this society.
yes, yeah,
Totally right. You know, I just stopped for a second because it just came to my mind that for a long time, till 1920, it looked like a successful experiment. Never more, never after, to be honest. But anyways, so yes. Well, you know, because they felt and thought it more than problematic that they were too different than they were before. And the theory which was made or born in Germany. So
Right.
this whole Reform Jewish movement started in Germany, and the influence came from there through Austria to Hungary. But the theory was that everybody fears the unknown and can't accept it.
yes,
So even the expression neolog comes from Germany. They
I
call
see.
it neologismus or something like that.
Yes.
But it's not the same community 100%, but this is a continuation of that German Reform Jewish
see.
movement. Absolutely. Well, until the Holocaust or Shoah, there were about 800,000 Jews in Hungary, at least 500,000 in the countryside and 300,000 here in Budapest, which means that until the Holocaust, every fifth person, 20% of the inhabitants of Budapest were Jewish.
right,
But most of the Jews in the countryside stayed Orthodox, and most of them in Budapest and in just a few more cities, they joined this neolog community. And the main reason why the Orthodox Jewish community is very, very small in Hungary now. I think you have seen Orthodox Jews before, you know, with the curl,
Yes.
the black hat, the black coat. Like there's a lot in Manchester, for example.
and London,
And London
yeah,
as well.
Golders Green,
I lived there for a week.
yes,
200 years ago. But yes,
Yes,
I spent a week in London 30 years ago. Yes, I lived in Golders Green. I loved it so much. There's
Yes.
a huge park there. That's the most.
I've walked
beautiful.
through it a few times, yeah,
Yes. I love that part of London, Hampstead and all this.
Yes.
Anyways, yes, absolutely. So, so most of the Jews in the countryside stayed Orthodox, and most of them in Budapest and in a few more cities joined this neolog community. And yes, the main reason why the Orthodox community is so small, something between 100 and 200 people maximum in the
Right.
whole country, is the Holocaust itself, because simply almost there were no survivors of Holocaust in the countryside of Hungary.
I see.
So much that the deportation of the Hungarian countryside Jews was one of the biggest and for sure the fastest deportation process in the whole history of Holocaust, and the very last one.
Right,
So it's important to know that Hungary was allied to Hitler all along the Second World War, not just from the first day of it, but from the mid-30s until the very last day of the war. Mainly to get the territories back, Hungary lost in 1920 with the Trianon Treaty. So 2 years after the First World War, on the 4th of June in 1920, Hungary lost more than 72% of its territories, more than 2/3 of the country, like Transylvania. But as usual, they wanted to get those territories back by Hitler.
yes,
But because of the German alliance all along the war, so Hitler just invaded Hungary on the 19th of March in 1944, just to avoid Hungary from standing on the Allied forces side.
so very late on in the war,
Very late, just a year.
the tail end,
Almost exactly
Yes.
just a year before. Yes.
Yes.
Just to keep Hungary on his side. So Hitler simply learned that the Hungarian governor, Miklós Horthy, started negotiations with Stalin and the Soviet Union. But yes, just March 1944. So ghettos, deportations happened here much later and
Yes.
much faster than anywhere else.
sorry, they refer to this area as the Jewish Quarter, don't they? Is that because it was populated by the Jews, or is that because the Germans?
No. They started calling it Jewish Quarter much before the German invasion, much before the war.
So it was a Jewish community.
Yes, but just from the mid-19th century. Before the mid-19th century, the Jews
Yes.
in the area lived on the Buda side.
I see, because there's another area over there, isn't there?
Honestly, Pest, this side of River Danube,
Yes.
was not even a real city till the mid-19th century, so it's not just
No.
about the Jews. This city, what we call Pest nowadays, which is the biggest, the most populated by far in Hungary.
Yes.
But, so, even in the early 19th century, Pest had about 20,000 inhabitants maximum.
Yes.
By the end of the 19th century, it was 1 million. Because
Right.
this whole city is a consequence of industrialization. We started in the mid-19th century in Hungary,
Yes.
so not just Jews, hundred thousands of people, because, you know, in the mid-19th century, this was the empty land in front of the capital city. So with a good
Yes.
location, all the new factories, companies, and even their employees settled down here at Pest.
Yes.
So, anyways, and yes, a lot of Jews, but before the mid-19th century, the Jews were excluded from the city of Pest, for example. So
Right.
they had no right to live in the downtown, just outside the city walls.
Yes.
On the Buddha side, it was easier for the Jews, but you know, this whole Jewish story here is 100% related to industrialization.
Yes.
So the Jews wanted to be here at Pest,
Yes.
the place of industrial
Production.
development. Exactly.
Yes. Yeah.
Exactly. So yes, yeah, we call it Jewish Quarter just from the mid-19th century.
I think I read somewhere. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's not. It's not so densely populated by Jews now, is it?
Totally true. Totally true. I think that it's absolutely alright to call it Jewish Quarter, even nowadays.
It's historically.
Culturally, historically, even institutionally.
Yes.
So the three most important synagogues of the city are located in the Jewish Quarter. Most of the important Jewish institutes are located in the Jewish Quarter.
Yes.
And yes, a lot of Jews live here, but you're right. Let's just tell you one example about that. How I mean that even before the Holocaust it was like this. So the first thing happened when the Hungarian Nazis, the Eurokos party, announced making the ghetto in mid-November 44. First they ordered the 12,000 Christian inhabitants of the Jewish Quarter to leave their flats.
Yes.
That's how we know that even before the Holocaust there were, I think, almost as many Christians as many Jews here.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. So it's not Jewish Quarter like in most of the countries and cities where it meant 100% Jewish area. No.
I also read that although this is symbolic of the Jewish community, it's not so much of as important to worship here now. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah.
It's more
Yes,
more symbolic.
especially nowadays. So nowadays, I think the most relevant expression about Hungarian Jews, like me, I'm more than typical. We are secularized.
Yes.
So honestly, I'm 75% Jewish, and it's important for me. I have a Jewish identity, but it has nothing to do with the religion.
No.
Ethnical, cultural, the history of my family members, a lot
Yes.
of personal stories, not about the religion. And it's like that,
Yes.
more or more.
Yeah.
Especially in Budapest, but even in the countryside.
I understand, yes,
Yes,
yeah.
absolutely. Much more ethnical, but it makes it even more sophisticated for us
Yes.
Jews, because, you know, honestly, it's not a question for me, it's not an issue for me, but I could never answer if you ask me if I'm first Hungarian or first Jewish. I have no clue about that. So
No.
it's just a mess.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, anyways, they started the deportations on the 15th of May in 1944 in the countryside from the east to the west, because the Soviet army came from the
Yes.
east as usual, and they finished the deportations in the whole countryside until the 9th of July,
Right.
which means 65 days, 2 months.
Yes.
In 65 days, 437,000 countryside and 40,000 Budapest Jews, about 500,000 people, were deported mainly to Auschwitz-Birkenau.
In that short period.
65 days.
It's madness, isn't it?
Especially because it means not just the deportations, but even ghettoization.
Yes. Yeah.
There were no ghettos in Hungary in the 20th century at all.
No.
Zero. Here at Budapest, there was no ghetto at all in our history. Never. So anyways, they ghettoed and deported these 500,000 people mainly to Auschwitz in 65 days. And that's why every third person who died in Auschwitz were Hungarian Jews, mainly from the countryside.
Every third person.
Every third person.
Every third person. 1 in 3 Hungarian Jews.
About 500,000
Yes.
out of 1.5 million.
Wow. Oh
Yeah,
God.
yeah. And it was so fast that even Rudolf Höss, the Nazi commander of the Auschwitz camp,
Yes.
if you saw that movie Schindler's List, you
Oh,
know,
I've watched it
Mad
several
Men with the-
times, yes,
with
yeah.
the gun, he came to Budapest just after they started the deportations and asked Adolf Eichmann to stop them for a while.
Yes.
Which has never happened, because as he told him, Auschwitz was too small for that amount of people. Anyhow, the Jews almost totally disappeared from the countryside of Hungary. So even nowadays, about 90% of us Hungarian Jews live in Budapest, and just a very few of us live in the countryside.
Yes.
But we don't know what it means in numbers. I mean, we don't know exactly by far how many Jews live in Hungary nowadays. So
No.
officially about 100,000, but you can be sure that the real number is way much higher. Just here in Budapest, there's more than 100,000 Jews. I'm totally sure, but that's all we know. For example, because there's a lot of people who don't even know about that they are Jewish. They were not told by their parents, grandparents, because they felt it safer for them.
Yes.
They didn't even learn that they have Jewish origin.
Yeah.
Like typical story, like one of the closest friends of my father who learned that he was Jewish from his parents at the age of 14, just because he heard anti-Semitic phrases in the school, repeated them at home,
Yes.
and his parents simply couldn't stand it anymore.
So it's like a fear of a repeat of the horror of what happened.
Absolutely. And you know, his parents couldn't stand it anymore, and they just told him that typical sentence, okay, sit down please for a minute, we have bad news, you can hate the Jews but you are one of them. It's a typical story even nowadays, to be honest. Well, just one more sentence about this subject. The other reason why the Orthodox Jewish community is very, very small in Hungary, that's the 1956 revolution itself.
Right.
So maybe you
Okay.
heard about there was an anti-communist revolution for 2 weeks in Hungary in 56. In those 2 weeks when the revolution lasted, the borders were open towards Austria, the only
Right.
not communist country around Hungary that time.
Yes.
In 2 weeks, more than 200,000 people left Hungary
Wow.
out
Right.
of about 9 million. So more than 200,000, a lot of Jews, and most of those Jews were Orthodox Jews because they were simply fed up with being unable to practice the religion.
Yes. Yes.
So
Sort of
then-
persecuted. And,
yes. So that's the other main reason why the Orthodox community almost disappeared.
I see.
From
Yes.
Hungary.
Yes.
Well, finally here, then we go outside, I do swear. Just from here, I'd like to show you a few elements of the synagogue, make it quite unusual or look like a Catholic church.
Okay.
First of all, like the place of Bima. Bima is the Torah reading desk on which they put the Torah scroll, you know, the
Oh,
Jewish
yes,
Bible
yes,
during
yeah.
the services. It should be in the center of the synagogue, according to the traditions, but here it's placed like an altar in a Catholic church.
Right.
So
Okay.
back and there is the Bima of the synagogue. See ya. Anyways, maybe also notice the two pulpits,
Yes.
which are more than necessary in a Catholic church, but in a synagogue they have nothing to do, to be honest. It's a
No.
Roman Catholic thing. So one was meant for the cantor who sings the songs in Hebrew, the other one for the rabbi. Nowadays they don't use them, but
No.
they keep using, keep playing the organ, even nowadays.
Yes.
So also like Catholic churches, like in some Reformed communities, especially in the US, they play the organ. But they play in an Orthodox synagogue, any kind of instruments are totally prohibited to use because it brings bad luck.
So,
as
sorry.
they
What's
believe.
that? What brings the bad luck? Sorry.
In an Orthodox synagogue,
Yes.
It's not allowed to use any kind of instruments.
No music.
No music, but just there's a choir of
Right.
usually of men.
Yes.
So there's a choir, like even here, but with the organ in the background.
But no actual physical instrument.
Exactly, no instruments at all. In a traditional synagogue, but
Yes.
this is not that
No.
that much. So they play the organ even on Fridays and Saturdays. Maybe I've heard about Shabbat or Sabbath,
Yes.
prohibition of working at all on Fridays and Saturdays for the religious Jews, like even playing an organ.
Yes.
So even nowadays, the organist is always Christian, not Jewish. But not just the organist has to be Christian, but even the janitor of the synagogue.
Right.
Because somebody has to switch the lights on Saturday mornings, and it's not allowed for anybody in the community.
No.
Anyways, finally here, the balconies. As usual, in every synagogue where there's a balcony, it's meant for women. Because they keep the segregation of men and women even nowadays. During the services, they can't sit together at all.
No.
And women sit on the balconies nowadays just on the high holidays.
Also, the men go upstairs, the women.
Only women. Both
Women.
balconies are meant for women.
Oh, I see. And
Women and boys till their bar mitzvah about 14 years of age.
I see. They go upstairs. Right.
They can, but not anymore. Yeah.
no,
ever
not
after.
here though.
It's not completely true. Basically, theoretically, yes. But in the reality...
In practice.
Yes. So nowadays, women sit on the balconies just on the high holidays, like Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Pesach.
Yes.
On the high holidays, the whole synagogue is full of people every single year. Any other days, there's not more than 30, 40 people in the services. So on the average days, in the reality, everybody sits on the ground floor, but not together. Men sit in the two middle lines and women sit here and on the other side. Yeah.
Do they allow non-Jews to attend, or is it
at least
deterred?
The Shabbat, the Friday evening service is possible to visit for.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think they ever ask anybody if she's Jewish or not.
No.
So no problem. Usually practicing Jews ask me about if it's possible to join the Shabbat service on Friday evening. But I think if anybody's interested, it's not a problem.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
so.
If you're interested.
Yeah. At least officially, you have to register at the website of the synagogue.
Yes, yeah.
For the next Friday, and you have to have a passport, ID card.
Yes,
That's
of
all.
course. Yeah.
That's all. So yeah, it's possible.
Yeah. I was just interested to know. That's all.
Yeah. So I think the best if you visit the website. I don't know how and there, but it's possible to register there.
Yes.
I just tell you that totally silently because it's not 100% sure at all.
No.
I think they let you in even if you don't register beforehand, but it's more than risky, so I never tried it.
No.
I never tried it, keep it in mind. Let's go outside.
I was very lucky to get my own personal guide, wasn't I? I'm impressed with that.
It's still the off season, more or less. So, Right. So it's still the off season, and just after you. Well. In the summertime, it can be even 30. I can hardly wait for this, to be honest. But yes, this part of the year, it happens a lot that there's just only one person. I love it because it's much more personal.
Yes, yeah.
It makes it possible. Sziasztok. Much more just to the right. It makes it much more possible for the visitor to, like you, to ask a lot of questions. And honestly, I know all the guys there that I love questions so much. I don't know about anybody else, how they mean it, but I mean it seriously. Questions can help me a lot to survive any day.
Did you say I could take my hat off outside?
Yeah. So we will visit the small synagogue for 5 minutes later, but in about 5 minutes. But there it's not so strict, so. If there, it's absolutely enough if you just put the hood on.
Yes, yeah.
Will
Or
be
just
enough.
further down there.
Yes. Yeah. But first of all, the cemetery, that even the fact that there's a cemetery or graveyard, I don't know which is the better expression, in the garden of a synagogue,
Yes.
it's not just unusual or untraditional, it is the impossible itself. It's totally prohibited. That in the Jewish religion or traditions, the place of life, like a synagogue, has
Yes.
to be strictly and completely separate from place of death, like a cemetery. That's why all around the world, everywhere,
Yes.
the synagogues are located in the downtown, like here,
Yes.
everywhere. But that's why the functioning Jewish cemeteries are always located in the suburbs or by the edge of the village, as far from the synagogue as possible.
Yes. Yeah.
But here they made this cemetery immediately, by the end of the siege of Pest, of this side of River Danube, because the siege of Buda, my hometown, the other
Yes,
side,
yes.
ended 1 month later. But on the 18th of January 1945, when the Soviet army liberated the ghetto, anyways, the ghetto which was here, that part
Yeah.
or this part of the Jewish quarter was the main ghetto of Budapest in 44-45. There was another one in St. Stephen's Park close to the parliament. That's why the shoes, those 60 pairs of metallic shoes, those
Yes.
memorials, that's why they are located between the parliament and the chain bridge.
I see.
Because those Jews, nobody knows how many, they
No.
were shot in the river Danube by the Hungarian Nazis. 44-45, they were brought away from their flats from that small ghetto, as they called it, in St. Stephen's Park, not this one.
Not this one, the one on the Buda side.
No, it's on the Pest side, on this side of the river Danube.
Yes.
A few 100 meters from the river Danube, so it's almost at the back of
Oh,
the
right,
Danube.
okay, yes.
In the line of the parliament.
Yes.
So, anyways, both ghettos were here on the Pest side, but this main or large ghetto, so it existed first of all for a very short time. So, all the other ghettos like Prague, Warsaw, Krakow, any other ones existed for about 4 years. This Budapest ghetto existed for about 1.5 months.
So the people who lived within the ghetto were forced to live within the ghetto.
Absolutely.
So they couldn't move.
Not at all. They lost their flat or house in the city.
Stolen from them. Yeah.
Absolutely. Those houses or flats were given to Christian families. Anyways, even those 12,000 Christian people also lost their flats here.
Yes.
But they got a Jewish flat anywhere else in the city in exchange. But it was a tragic thing even for them.
Yes.
But especially the Jews, of course. Especially because there were 70,000 people in the ghetto for 4,500 flats. The ghetto was 0.3 square kilometers, 4,500 flats for 70,000
So
people.
15 to 20 to a
Exactly, yes,
build
yes.
flat.
And most of them were children and women, because most of Jewish men were brought to forced labor service years beforehand, from 1940.
Yes.
So between the age of 14 and 60, 70. So all these 70,000 people here lived in the ghetto without enough food and especially without heating.
Yes.
Because also the Hungarian Nazis stopped the heating system in the whole ghetto on purpose, absolutely. They knew it would do the job, because the temperature was about minus 10, 15 degrees in Celsius.
So it made them sick.
And freeze, yeah, absolutely, they were frozen. So that's why they found 4,000 unburied corpses everywhere in the ghetto on the 18th of January 45. Not all of them, but 2,281 bodies were buried in these 24 mass graves. 2,281 bodies.
Wow.
Bodies?
In this small area.
24 mass graves. So there should be about 90 something corpses in each single grave. Yeah, absolutely. But you can see much less tombstones.
Yes.
Much less than 90.
These are the ones that have been recognised and identified as being here.
Exactly, which means
So
less
there's
than
lots
half
here
of
on
them.
haven't been acknowledged.
About, exactly 1,170 people were never identified, a bit more than half of them.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. And in a second I will show you the small synagogue. I hope it's open, we will see. But, should, because it's not Friday. But it's called Temple of Heroes to commemorate those 10,000 Jews who died as soldiers in the Hungarian army in the First World War. So you will see even the two dates inside written on the wall, 1914, 1918, the beginning and the end of First World War.
Yes.
But it's totally like a chapel by a cathedral, all the same story. They built and opened it in 1931 to have a small synagogue here for the winter time, because it's not just expensive, but it's totally impossible to keep the main building, the Dwight Street Synagogue up. So from 1931, the winter services are there in the Heroes Temple, but from early April till late October, the services are still here.
Right, okay.
Yeah. This picture was taken on that day, on the 18th of January 45.
Oh, wow.
So these corpses were already here, to be honest, because even when the ghetto existed, they started storing, collecting the corpses here in the garden.
So this is the same architect, the same building?
Absolutely. This is the fence here, there, yes.
It looks clean and new there.
Yeah, because they polished it about 2 weeks ago.
Oh,
to be honest.
but that's the actual wall?
Absolutely, these are the bullet holes. Yeah.
Oh, right.
And there were still fights in the suburbs for weeks
Yes.
after the liberation of the downtown and the ghetto itself. So it was impossible to reach the Jewish cemeteries. So they were afraid of diseases. They had to do something with the
Yes,
corpses.
yes,
So
of course, yeah.
that's why they made it. But they buried bodies here just for a few days after the war, never after.
No.
Yeah. But let's have a look this way. It's open. Perfect. Just beforehand, a minute. Here and there, you can see the names of the identified people in the graves listed in alphabetic order. So this is the second half of it.
Right.
Yeah, and now the miracle will happen. I will stop talking for 2 minutes. I let you take pictures inside.
Thank
Take
you.
Pictures. I wait for you here.
So I can actually go through the door, can I?
No. It's enough if you put the hood on.
Oh, yeah, of
Here.
course.
And
Yeah.
yes. Just look around, take some pictures, and finally I will show you the tree in the garden.
Yes.
But just after you. So I go in for a minute, but then I really let you take pictures. Hello, see ya. But just to show you a few things, like even here, men are separated from women by the side, so women sit here, men sit there.
Right.
They keep the Torah scroll in the ark behind the purple carpet there, so when the service starts, they bring it out and put it on the bima.
I see.
Here
Yes.
is the
Yeah.
bima, and they start reading it out loudly. And those are my favorite elements here, those glass elements.
Yes.
Yeah, because there was an Hungarian Jewish glass artist called Mik Sarot. He was a genius, and he made all the windows, those glass elements here in 1931. And like many others, he died in the Holocaust.
Yeah, beautiful, aren't they?
Yeah. It's from 1931, so it's an Art Deco building more or less inside.
I'm surprised it wasn't damaged during all this.
Yes. Well, so Budapest was bombed 14 times by the Allied forces just
Yes.
after the German invasion in spring and summer 44. So 80% of the buildings in the downtown, both sides of the river Danube, were demolished or hardly damaged. But the English and American Air Force, they knew where the Jewish quarter was. They tried to preserve it.
Right,
It
so they
was not
avoided
100% possible, but much less buildings were bombed in the Jewish quarter than anywhere else in the
Yes.
downtown of Budapest. Yeah, yes. So, feel free to take pictures. See
Thank you.
outside.
Thank you.
See you. Right.
Yes, fascinating.
Yes. Most of the visitors, especially Jewish visitors, like this synagogue much more than the main building, to be honest. But yeah, both are unique, but in a very, very different way. And now, finally, we just walk to the tree. One more minute and I will release you, but finally I'd like to show you that tree, which is, well, in the everyday life we call it tree of life, tree of death, weeping, or just a tree.
Yes.
But the official name of it is Emmanuel tree, after the name of Tony Curtis.
Yes,
Maybe a
did he fund it or contribute towards it?
Anyways, Tony Curtis Bernie Schwartz. That was Bernard Schwartz. But he was born in the US in 1925, but his parents were Hungarian countryside Jews.
Yes.
And his father was called Immanuel Schwartz anyway. So Tony Curtis's Immanuel Foundation and Estee Lauder's Foundation donated this tree in 1990.
Yes.
And if anybody had Hungarian Jewish relatives who were murdered in the Holocaust and can prove it, they write their name on a leaf. So that's what you can see on the tree. names of Hungarian Jews died in the Holocaust. But of course, there's no 600,000 names on the list, just about 15,000. But more
Yes.
and more, they add new names even
I was going to
nowadays
say they're still
sometimes.
adding them.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So I suppose new evidence is coming to light, isn't
Exactly, exactly. Yes. And finally, it's full of stones because it's like in a Jewish cemetery.
it? Yes.
So, Jewish people put stones on the graves, not flowers, because stones last forever. They don't die like flowers. They are symbol of eternity in the
course,
Jewish
yeah.
religion. Yeah. Well, you made it.
Yeah.
This
Well,
is the end of it.
Thank you very much. It
My
was
pleasure. Thank
very
you.
interesting and appreciate.
My pleasure. Thank you
Yeah,
so
thank
much.
you.
Have a nice day. Just one sentence more. Practical information. The only exit is there. Anytime
Yes.
you like to leave, only that way,
Yes.
not through the entrance.
No.
But beforehand, you can go back. By the end of the corridor, if you take a right, you get to the Jewish Museum. So it's.
I can have another little walk round there, can I, if I want to?
Oh, yeah.
Just just don't go out the front.
No. Just exactly when you reach the other end of the corridor, if you turn left by the end of it, you get back to the synagogue.
Yes.
Or if you turn right on the corridor
yes.
and walk about 50 meters, there's a gate on your right. The museum is on the first floor, so you just have to go up to the first
Also,
floor.
there's a museum to look at. Yes.
Yes,
is
the
there?
Jewish museum, absolutely. And finally, the toilets are there.
Yes.
Just there.
There's a what? Sorry,
Just there behind the trees at the corner.
Oh yes. Yeah.
There are the toilets. Cheers. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Take care. Have a nice day.
Yes.
You will see me again in a
Okay.
half an hour. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.
Cheers. Thank you. Bye bye. Stop recording.